You do it 20,000 times a day. You do it when you are awake. You do it when you are asleep. You do it when you kiss, when you run, and when you cry. It is the first thing you do when you are born, and it is the last thing you do when you die. Breath. To the modern doctor, it is simply gas exchange, oxygen in, carbon dioxide out, a mechanical function of the autonomic nervous system. But to the ancient mystics, the breath was something far more terrifying and far more beautiful. It was the string that tied the spirit to the body. It was the umbilical cord of the soul, connecting the human puppet to the divine puppeteer. What if I told you that you have been breathing wrong your entire life? What if the way you breathe is keeping you trapped in a state of low-grade anxiety, acidity, and spiritual blindness? And what if I told you that the secret to hacking your biology, to changing the pH of your blood, and to unlocking the DMT in your brain is hidden in a single sound, a sound that you make every time you exhale, the sound huh? Welcome back to Hidden Atlas. Today, we are going to perform an autopsy on the invisible. We are going to decode the science of breath. We are going to look at the shocking anatomical coincidence that suggests your lungs are literally shaped like the name of God. We are going to explore the chemistry of holotropic breathwork and how it compares to the ancient Sufi practice of Nafas, breath retention. We're going to analyze the Bohr effect and why carbon dioxide is not just waste, but the key to unlocking oxygen. And finally, we are going to teach you the secret breath, the technique used by dervishes and divers to stop time and enter the vacuum of the present moment. To understand the mystery, we must first look at the machine. Look at an anatomy chart of the human respiratory system. You see the trachea, the windpipe, going down. It splits into two bronchi. These branch out into the lungs. The right lung has 3 lobes, the left lung has 2 lobes to make room for the heart. For centuries, anatomists just saw biology, but the Sufis, who were masters of symbolism, saw a signature. They looked at the shape of the lungs and the trachea, and they saw Arabic calligraphy. In Arabic, the name of the creator is Allah. It is written with 4 letters, alif, lam, ha. Vertical line, curve, circle. Now look at the human upper body. The alif, the vertical line, is the trachea, throat. The lams, the double curves, are the bronchi branching out into the shoulders and lungs. The ha, the circle, is the diaphragm, or the heart nestling between the lungs. Is this pareidolia, just the human brain seeing patterns in clouds, or is it a maker's mark? Just like an artist signs the bottom of a painting, did the architect sign the instrument of life with his own name? This theory suggests that every single human being, atheist, believer, sinner, saint, is physically stamped with the name, and every time you breathe, you are unconsciously reciting that name. Inhale, al, exhale, la. Or more precisely, as we will discover, the sound of the breath itself is the name. The last letter of the name is ha. In Arabic, phonetics, ha is a breathy letter. It comes from deep in the chest. It is the sound of exhalation. It is the sound of relief. It is the sound of laughter. Ha ha. It is the sound of pain. The Sufis say that the H is the essence of life. When a baby is born, it takes a sharp inhale and enters the world. When a man dies, he gives a final exhale and leaves the world. Between that first inhale and that last exhale, our entire life is just a series of H sounds. But the mystics didn't just look at the shape, they looked at the function. They realized that by manipulating this H sound, by changing the rhythm, depth, and hold of the breath, they could alter their consciousness. They discovered that the breath is the remote control for the nervous system. In the West, we are just catching up. We have Wim Hof, we have Stanislav Grof. We have realized that hyperventilation and hypoventilation can heal trauma and fight inflammation. But the dervishes were doing this in the caves of Khorasan 1,000 years ago. Let's dive into the chemistry of the fire breath. What is oxygen? We think of it as a gentle, life-giving gas, but chemically, oxygen is a burner. It is oxidation. Fire is rapid oxidation. Rust is slow oxidation. Your metabolism is controlled oxidation. You are technically a slow-burning fire. You breathe in oxygen to burn the carbon in your food to create energy, ATP. The byproduct of this fire is smoke, carbon dioxide. We are taught that CO2 is waste. We need to get rid of it. But here is the secret that most people don't know. You need the smoke to use the fire. This is called the Bohr effect. Your blood can be full of oxygen, 99% saturation, but if your CO2 levels are too low, that oxygen will not release from the hemoglobin into your cells. It stays stuck in the blood. You can suffocate while having a chest full of air. To release the oxygen into the tissues, brain, muscles, you need a certain level of carbon dioxide. Most modern people are chronic overbreathers. We breathe through our mouths. We breathe shallowly. We breathe too fast, 15 to 20 times a minute. We are constantly blowing off too much CO2. This causes our blood vessels to constrict, vasoconstriction. It causes our brain to get less oxygen. It causes anxiety. We are literally starving our brains of air by breathing too much. The Sufis understood this paradox intuitively. They practiced Nafas, breath retention. They would inhale deeply and then hold the breath for a long time, or they would recite long prayers on a single breath. What does this do physiologically? CO2 tolerance. It builds up carbon dioxide. This dilates the blood vessels. It opens the arteries. Oxygen delivery. It forces the oxygen deep into the cells, into the places it usually can't reach. The nervous system. It activates the vagus nerve. It switches the body from fight or flight, sympathetic, to rest and digest, parasympathetic. But there is a second chemical shift, pH balance. The pH of your blood must be tightly controlled around 7.4, slightly alkaline. If it drops, acidic, you get sick. Cancer loves acidic environments. Inflammation loves acid. If it rises, alkaline, you heal. When you perform rapid, rhythmic breathing, like in a Zeker circle or Wim Hof method, you temporarily blow off massive amounts of CO2. This makes the blood extremely alkaline for a short period. This alkaline spike shocks the immune system. It suppresses inflammatory markers, cytokines. It is a biological reboot. The Sufis called this burning the Nafs. The Nafs is the lower self, associated with sluggishness, depression, and toxicity. They believed that by doing this intense breathing, they were physically burning the impurities of the blood. And science agrees. They were inducing intermittent hypoxia and alkalosis, which cleanses the cells. But there is a second chemical shift, pH balance. The pH of your blood must be tightly controlled around 7.4, slightly alkaline. If it drops, acidic, you get sick. Cancer loves acidic environments. Inflammation loves acid. If it rises, alkaline, you heal. When you perform rapid, rhythmic breathing, like in a Zeker circle or Wim Hof method, you temporarily blow off massive amounts of CO2. This makes the blood extremely alkaline for a short period. This alkaline spike shocks the immune system. It suppresses inflammatory markers, cytokines. It is a biological reboot. But there is a deeper, more psychedelic aspect to this, holotropic breathwork. Dr. Stanislav Grof developed holotropic breathwork to mimic the effects of LSD without drugs. By breathing fast and deep for a long time, the brain chemistry changes. The blood flow to the prefrontal cortex, the ego logic center, decreases. The blood flow to the deeper emotional centers increases. The ego goes to sleep. The subconscious wakes up. People in these states see visions. They relive past memories. They feel a connection to the universe. The whirling dervishes, as they spin and breathe, enter this exact state. They are not just dancing, they are hyper-oxygenating their pineal gland to trigger a visionary state. So the breath is not just air, it is a drug. and the most potent form of this drug is encoded in the sound HU. Why HU? Why not Om? Why not Ah? What is the specific physics of this syllable? Let's analyze the sound hu, pronounced like the English word who, but with a rounder, deeper resonance. In Arabic grammar, hu is the pronoun for the third person singular, he. It refers to the essence of God, the absolute, the unknowable. Before God became Allah, the God with attributes, he was just hu, pure identity. But phonetically, hu is unique. Try saying it. Hu. Notice your mouth. It forms a perfect circle. Notice your tongue. It does not touch your teeth. It does not touch the roof of your mouth. It floats in the center of the oral cavity. Notice the airflow. There is no friction. There is no blockage. Most consonants, B, K, T, D, require you to stop the air. They are sounds of collision. They represent the material world where things hit each other. Hu is the sound of flow. It travels from the deepest part of the lungs through the throat, out of the lips without hitting any obstacle. It represents the spirit, or Ru, which flows through matter but is not trapped by it. Now, place your hand on your chest. Say hu in a low pitch. Do you feel the vibration? The sound hu resonates specifically in the thoracic cavity. It vibrates the lungs, the heart, and the thymus gland. This is cymatics, the science of sound affecting matter. We know that sound frequencies can arrange sand into geometric patterns. We know that the human body is 70% water. When you chant hu, you are sending a standing wave through the water of your body. You are structuring the water in your cells into a coherent geometric pattern. But the most critical target of this vibration is the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve wanders from the brainstem through the vocal cords down to the heart and gut. It is the brake pedal of stress. When you vibrate the vocal cords with a long, slow exhale, like hu, you physically massage the vagus nerve. This sends an immediate signal to the brain: we are safe, relax. Heart rate drops, blood pressure drops, cortisol drops. This is why hu is found in so many traditions, disguised in different words. The word human. Hu equals God or spirit, man equals mind, the God-man. The word Yahuwah or Yahweh, the sound of the wind, the sound of the ocean. The universe is constantly chanting this name. The Sufis say that the hu is the sound of the universe breathing, expansion or basit, and contraction or kabid. When you align your breath with this sound, you align your personal rhythm with the cosmic rhythm. There is a concept called zikr-i-hafi, the hidden remembrance. This is the practice of chanting without using the tongue, chanting with the breath alone. Inhale, ha, exhale, hu, or simply listening to the sound of the breath and realizing it is already saying the name. The mystics argue that you don't do the zikr is doing you. Your lungs are praying even when your mind is thinking about money. The goal of the spiritual path is simply to listen to the prayer that your physiology is already performing. But how do we turn this philosophy into a practical biohack? How do we use the hu breath to heal our bodies and sharpen our minds in the modern world? We need a protocol.
We live in a breathless society. We sit in chairs that compress our diaphragm. We look at screens that cause email apnea. We subconsciously hold our breath when reading emails. We breathe through our mouths, triggering the stress response. We are chemically acidic and spiritually suffocated. It is time to learn how to breathe again. This is the Hidden Atlas Breath Protocol. It combines the ancient Sufi wisdom of Nafas with modern respiratory science. 1. The mechanics. Nose only. First rule, shut your mouth. The nose is for breathing. The mouth is for eating. The nose has a filtration system. It warms the air. But most importantly, the nose produces nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a miracle molecule. It kills viruses. It dilates blood vessels. It increases oxygen efficiency by 18%. When you breathe through your mouth, you get zero nitric oxide. You are breathing dumb air. Tape your mouth at night if you have to. Breathe through your nose 24/7. 2. The rhythm. The 4-4-8 technique, the relaxer. This is the vagus nerve hack. Inhale through the nose for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. Exhale through the mouth, making a whoo sound for 8 seconds. The exhale must be longer than the inhale. When you inhale, your heart speeds up slightly. When you exhale, it slows down. By making the exhale twice as long, you force the heart into a coherent, slow rhythm. Do this for 2 minutes before a stressful meeting or sleep. It works faster than Xanax. 3. The power, the fire breath, the energizer. This is the Wim Hof or Sufi zikr style. Use this in the morning to alkalize your blood. Sit comfortably. Inhale deeply and fully into the belly, then chest. Let go. Don't force the exhale. Do this rhythmically and fast. In, out, like a pump. Do 30 repetitions. You will feel tingling. You might feel lightheaded. This is the oxygen flooding your system. After 30 breaths on the last exhale, let all the air out and hold. Hold for as long as you can. 1 minute, 2 minutes. This is the hypoxic state, the silence, the 0 point. When you feel the urge to breathe, take a deep inhale and hold for 15 seconds. Squeeze the energy to your head. Do 3 rounds. You will feel like you are vibrating. You are. You have just charged your biophotons. 4. The mystic, the who loop. This is for deep meditation and heart connection. Sit in a quiet place. Inhale slowly through the nose. Imagine you are inhaling light. As you exhale, make the sound whoo audibly. Focus the vibration in the center of your chest. Visualize the sound cleaning your heart like a sonic laser, breaking up the black spots of anxiety and grief. Do this for 10 minutes. Eventually, stop making the sound audibly. Just make it mentally. Feel the silent whoo reverberating in your chest. 5. The daily awareness, the watchman. The Sufis call this hosh dardam, awareness of breath. Try to catch yourself during the day. Are you holding your breath? Are you breathing shallowly? Every time you remember, take one deep, conscious breath. That one breath breaks the chain of unconscious stress. It reconnects the umbilical cord. The conclusion, the breath of life. We are looking for miracles outside. We want magic pills. We want technology. But the greatest technology is right under your nose, literally. Oxygen is the fuel, the lungs are the engine, and the breath is the steering wheel. You can steer yourself into panic, acidity, and disease, or you can steer yourself into peace, alkalinity, and power. The choice happens 20,000 times a day. The name of the architect is written on your lungs. The sound of the essence is written on your exhale. You are not just a biological machine. You are a vessel of the divine breath. And I breathed into him of my spirit. That spirit is still flowing. Don't choke it. Don't ignore it. Write it. Thank you for breathing with us today. This episode was a manual for the most important tool you own. Take a deep breath right now. Fill your lungs and let it go with a whoo. Feel better? Tell us in the comments. Have you ever tried breathwork? What happened? Subscribe to Hidden Atlas. We are oxygenating the truth. Until next time, keep breathing, keep glowing, and remember, the distance between you and the divine is only one breath.